Hey guys, Chris Martin, AveragePro, theaveragepro.com. If you're a vendor of your own product and you're not signed up on the site yet, get over there, get signed up, get your products listed on our site. We go live next month. Don't want to miss out before we start adding the subscription fee back in. So right now it's free to sign up. Don't want to miss the opportunity. If you haven't already, click the subscribe below and like the channel. Let us know what you want to see and we'll get to it. Today we're going to be making jigs. Go start to finish. By the end of this video, you're going to have complete confidence in your jig making ability and you'll be making jigs in no time. So let's get set up. I'll go through everything we need. Okay guys, before we get started, I wanted to tell you that you're going to need one thing. You're going to be melting lead, so you need to make sure that you have a fan on or ventilation, be in a good place with good ventilation, and you need to wear a mask. I know that there's a bunch of controversy right now on masks and everything like that, but with melting lead, it's just a safety precaution that you have good ventilation and that you wear a mask so you're not breathing in the fumes. All right, let's show you what you need. Okay, what you're gonna need is a melting pot, lead, wax, just regular Gulf wax, powder coat, a mold with the 3 weed guards that come with each mold, hooks. We will be making a football jig today. You're gonna need a pair of pliers, a file, a heat gun, the skirts, epoxy glue of any kind, preferably that 24-hour set epoxy, a skirt making machine, and to fine tune, you will need 2 drill bits, 1/8 inch, 1/16 inch. Let's go through this. Step 1, plug in your melter. Turn it, if you're on the Lee's Precision, to 6.3 if it was a decimal scale. It's in between the 6 and the 7. This lead's already melted, but let's say you got a clean pot. First step, dump in an ingot of lead. Now, here's the tricky part. You have to put in about this much Gulf wax to flash ignite the lead and cook off all the impurities. Wax in. All right, it's almost out. There we go. Now we're ready. Get our mold out. First thing, put your weed guards in. They come with this mold. So you put them in these little pre-cut channels already, and then you go ahead and put your hooks in. Now your hooks that you use for each mold are different, and they're labeled right here on the molds. They say right here what style of hook to use, so when you order a mold, make sure you get the correct hooks. All right, close it up so that nothing moves. Put it on top of your melting pot and let it sit for about 20 seconds. This heats up the mold, and that way you don't get a cold pour. Don't want to leave it on there for too long or the mold will get too hot and then your pour won't solidify fast enough and it'll run down the cracks. So you leave it on there for about 20 seconds. There's a tip underneath here that you pour right into each one. And then you let them sit. Those are done. You open it up. This is what your pliers are for. First thing you want to do, these should be cooled down enough already to handle, is you want to just check all the way around your mold to make sure that you have good adherence. First thing you want to do is you got these lead heads up top, and you want to hold underneath the head, and you want to take a pair of pliers and just wiggle these things back and forth. And then put them back inside your lead to melt and use them again. Next, what you would do is take out your weed guard holders, okay? Grab onto them, they're not in there real tight, and just wiggle back and forth, and they'll come right out. There you go. Okay. All right, once you're done making all your jig heads, go ahead and unplug your pot and plug in your heating gun. Take your file where you took the lead heads off. You need to make sure that that's filed down and smoothed out. Okay, next, take your powder coat. This is just normal powder coat. Don't go out and spend $10 for 3 ounces. Go to Prismatic Powders and buy a pound for like $8. They got hundreds of colors. Okay, prismaticpowders.com. I'll put the link down. Anyways, you want to go ahead and shake it up real quick. Let that settle for 10 seconds or so. What you want to do is you want to take your jig head, hold it with a pair of pliers, and put it over your heat gun. If you don't have a heat gun, use a blowtorch, use a hair dryer for a longer time. You're just heating up this metal, this lead right here, in order to get the powder coat to stick to it. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Dip it in, cover it completely, beat off all the excess, and then melt it back down. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, now you see how it's getting glossy? Well, it's still got a little bit of orange peel to it, so we're not done. Powder coat's flowing. Got a nice coat all the way around. Go ahead and hang this up and let it dry somewhere. You want it to be powdery when you bring it out. You don't want it to flow already. That's, your metal is too hot if it flows already. So you want it to have that powder look still, and you want it to start flowing once you put it back over the heat. So normally what you would want to do is to bake those in an oven at 350 for an additional 10 minutes. The reason you heat it up to adhere the powder coat to it is so that you can put that base layer down, because you don't have a powder coating system. If you do have a powder coating system, then you know what you're talking about already. But for the people that don't have a powder coating system, that's an easy way to powder coat your jigs, and then put them in a toaster oven or put them in the oven for an additional 10 minutes at 350. No more, or you'll burn the powder coat. All right? Okay, so after you've taken them out of the oven and they've cooled back down, this is what you'll have. You'll have your 3 jig heads. And so what you want to do is you want to take your 1/8" drill bit and lightly clean out the inside of the hole. So you're just running that back and forth just to clean the powder coat out so that your weed guards fit. All right, now to test it, you take one of your weed guards and make sure it fits. There you go, that's beautiful. Fits perfect. Great. All right, so we set that one aside, do the next one. If you have any powder coat inside of your hook eye hole, then you need to take one of these 1/16 drill bits and clean out the inside of your eye holes. Okay, so first off, you want to set up your skirt maker. This is mine. This is a high output one for making a lot, but use what you have. There's many of options out there, simpler ones, cheaper ones. Anyways, you want to roll your band skirt maker somehow. This is a simple band, single band, no rattles. This one carries 2 rattles with it, but you put it on the same way. Just roll it right on. All right, ready to go. Remove this. Now for my skirts, I usually do about 40 to 60 strands. Each skirt usually comes with about 20 strands on it. So I hang 1, hang 2, and then I hang, if I'm going to, an accent skirt. All right, and this one's ready to go. Pull it right through, slide the band right off on it, sling it right back out. All right, so next you want to take your skirts, you should have a longer end and a shorter end because it should be off-centered by your band. Your band shouldn't be right there on the center. And I'll show you why, because when you flip it open, which is going to be your top side, you need to make sure that your top side is even with your bottom side. And that way you have an even skirt. So now that we know this is the top of the jig, we're going to take it. We want our accent side on the back of the skirt, or on the back of the jig, and that way it's underneath the jig when we put it on. Slide your hook through, push it on all the way up to the top. And then that way your accent skirt right here in the back, beautiful. All right, and then you want to trim these up. Take your scissors, cut them all off right there. And that way you've got good length. Be careful, make sure you get them all. All right, beautiful. Okay, there you go. That one is ready for the weed guard. All right, so we'll set that down. This is my rattle jig. It had that double rattle skirt band, and that's because on these, this is my 1/4 ounce, I believe, smaller football jigs, and so I use these bands so that I can put these rattles right on in there and make this a rattle jig, a vibrating jig. So last step, we've already cleaned out the weed guards, so we know that the weed guards fit. So we take our little bit of epoxy. I use this Gorilla Glue because it works best for us. We've never had any problems with it, never had any weed guards come out, so you know, that's what we use it, but it's just clear Gorilla Glue. And so you just want to just push lightly till you fill that hole up. Let me show you. Lightly till you fill it. There you go. Just a little bit. Okay. And push your weed guard in there. All right. That one's good to go. Leave that one sitting. Congratulations, you just made a jig. Those will be fished tomorrow. All right, so I hope this helped you out today. I hope that you learned everything you need to learn. If you have any questions, put it down below. I'll be glad to answer them and help you out. If I need to make a second video on whatever it is that is still confusing, I'll do that. But I want you to be able to make your own jigs for 2 reasons. 1, it saves you money from having to go out and buy all these jigs that are expensive. And 2, especially if you're learning how to fish, you're just learning, you're practicing, or if you're trying to get better and you're going through a bunch of tackle because you're fishing hard spots, then this is just a good way to help kind of cover those expenses. And it's very easy to do on your own. And I suggest that you pick it up. I'll put a link down to everything that we used and where you can find it, start to finish, and I'll even put the steps in, step 1, step 2, and that way the instructions are right there with you. Go ahead and click subscribe if you haven't already, like the video, and comment down below, and we'd love to hear from you. So everybody out there, this is Chris Martin, Average Pro, theaveragepro.com. Until we see you again.